Hello everyone, this is Cyril here. Just wanted to give my thoughts and advice on doing the new Mage Tower for the rest of Shaman quest. First off, I want to start off by saying this quest isn't that easy. As a lot of people know, the number 930 item level has been thrown on a lot lately, and for the most part, a lot of people are going to have to wait till then to defeat a lot of these scenarios. But if you're like me and you didn't want to wait, then depending on your item level, you may have an uphill battle ahead of you. My item level I generally rate at is around 912 to 914, but the item I used for clearing this was, in the end, was 908. The Shaman legendaries I used was the pants and the gloves. I own most of the legendaries, I just found these to be the most beneficial. I also used the Resto Shaman 4 set. I used the 500 Int Feast, Augment rune, and the Int Flask. I will note though that I did use the Mastery Food to learn most of the fights since the Int Food buff isn't so readily available. Starting off with the first guy, if you leave the dialogue box open for the characters to talk, after Granny Marl says, "Let's be about it," that's about the time you'll want to pre-pot. The first enemy isn't anything difficult, just a lone archer. The archer's main attack is Mana Sting, which will drain the majority of the mana the person it hits. Pretty much just never let that hit you, and for this wave, just put that into the warrior tank. Wave 2 will add a mage. They only cast one ability, but each time you cast it, it will do more damage. Stunning or interrupting will remove all these stacks, or you can purge to help keep the damage lower. For all the mages, you will need to catch their first interrupt, then wait a second and drop Cap Totem to stun both of them. If you wait too long though, even if you stun the archer, it will still teleport away and begin to cast Mana Sting. Once the stun wears off, interrupt the mage, and then you can let the rest of the cast through. If you feel needed, you can purge one of the stacks, but it should be okay either way. Also note that during this round I used AG, just use it when you feel you're falling behind to catch up. Going into wave 3, there will be a mage and a soldier. The soldiers have two abilities, Knife Dance, which is an AoE, and Enrage, which they focus the target and do bonus damage. Please note that I do believe that the enraged targets are predetermined, so after a few attempts you'll know who they go after. To start off this round, you'll be doing the same thing that you did before. You're going to interrupt the mage, wait a second, and then you're going to drop your Cap Totem and stun them both. The best time for this one is to wait until the soldier starts to cast his Knife Dance, then interrupt it. You should still be able to get the Mage cast and the Knife Dance before it actually does any damage. Then follow after the stun with another interrupt on the Mage, and then the Mage should be good from there. If you're having problems with the soldier, consider kiting him on top of your hunter so that you can efficiently drop and use Healing Rain. Now going into wave 4 is when things are going to start to get a little more difficult. You'll have a mage and two soldiers. Now for some people, this is going to become the argument of whether they want to use Bloodlust here or on the next mob. I saved mine, but the legendary pants greatly carried me through here. Start off as you normally would, interrupt the mage, then wait for both the soldiers to begin their cast before stunning. After that, make sure you get Healing Rain down, and then interrupt the mage again. Now, I would advise trying to snag a purge on the mage if you can, because it can get really rough really quickly. If you lack health, this is also a great chance. There's a great chance you'll need to save your Astral Shift for both the soldiers going berserk at the same time. I would also use Ascendance pretty early in, followed by either a Healing Tide Totem or Spirit Link Totem. Now I ended up using Spirit Link Totem because I fell behind, but if used correctly, Healing Tide can actually be the stronger choice there since a big part of the damage is actually area damage. Once the stun is off cooldown, use it almost immediately to stop the Knife Dance. I did this a little bit too early and I just stunned the double Enrage, which is okay. Once you've stunned them, stopping the Blade Dance, drop a slow totem, then run to the opposite side of the room. This is a wonderful time to use a sleeper potion and get some mana back. Going into Wave 5, I tried a lot of different things with this pack, and finalized on this strategy. Right off the back, stay near your hunter toward the center of the room, and immediately get the interrupt on the mage so that he runs over to you as well. Drop the stun to stop the knife dance and the mage cast. Then the archer will cast Mana Sting and try and dump this into your hunter, which takes the least amount of focus damage during this phase. So many attempts were lost because I put it into the warrior, and the damage from all of them hitting him plus the Mana Sting dot often ended up in a wipe without a major cooldown. Once the hunter got hit, I dropped Healing Tide and popped Bloodlust for the increased healing. Don't forget to interrupt the mage. Once Healing Tide is starting to run out, I popped AG for the extra topping to keep everything running until the mage died. Once the mage is dead, you'll have less control over where the Mana Sting goes, but you can continue to try and put it into the hunter when you can. Keep Healing Rain down on you and the hunter to help balance out the damage, and use Cap Totem on cooldown. So first off, if you've gotten stage 1 down, great job. Drink up, restore your mana, wait for any cooldowns you feel you're going to need going into the next 2 stages. This part is a lot easier and there is probably no right way to do it, but despite that, I'm going to go over it anyway. Once the roleplay is over, you're going to be trapped in a small room with a bunch of eyeballs that wander very slowly. They do have like a pulsing fire around them, so don't stand near them. You can kill these however you find efficient. Just remember that if 2 of them die at the same time, it can kill you or will almost kill you. So make sure that you either pop a defensive or heal up in between them. I like to spread some of the dots around to kill off ones while I worked on others. Again, there's no real right way to kill these, so just do whatever you feel is best and efficient. Next we have the demon and his 3 bats. Ignore the orb in the doorway, and then drop a slow totem and chain lightning off the main demon. Once they get close, you can stun them, finish off the bats, and then kill the demon. His damage is so minor though that you almost have no fear of making any mistakes here. The only possible way you can die is by stepping into the room and actually getting hit by that fell orb. That combined with all them hitting you might be literally the only way you can die at this part. The damage is very, very minor. Even the bats and rage damage is, again, also very minor. Once they are dead, tag the first fire orb and then hug the wall to get to the gate. Now, while you are clicking on this gate, click over onto the feared target. Once the gate opens, immediately dispel him and then pop Ascendance. Hot up the first nearest target, then heal the other 2 up all the way. Then make sure to finish healing the first guy before pulling the archer. If any adds are not healed up to full at least once before the archer dies, they will turn evil and kill you after the archer has been killed. Remember that you can also stun the archer's first Mana Sting, so you do not have to move to avoid it. If the archer still isn't dead, just hide behind one of the ghosts and they will take the blow for you. If you are suffering at this part, you can always consider using some DPS trinkets to help get the ad down. Next is the Fire Orb room. Put Spirit Walkers and then just spam Chain Lightning till you get to the top. Once you reach the top, open the door and then move away from the opening and begin killing the Corruptor. I also dodged one of the eyes so as to kill him as I was killing the Corruptor. Do not shy away from using any healing cooldowns here. Use as many as you need. There's absolutely no reason to risk anything at this part. You're going to get a huge break afterwards. So do whatever you need to do to make sure you meet that timer, whether it's kill multiple Ilvls at the same time, or, even if you have to wait and save Bloodlust before coming to this part, whatever you need to do to get to here, it's fairly easy. Most people are not going to have any problems with this part, but do whatever you need to do to get through this room. If you're having problems, there's multiple ways that you can just stop everything and then wait for cooldowns at the very beginning, wait for that Bloodlust or Sated to come back off cooldown so you could use it in a room like this. Again, this isn't a very hard room. Most people aren't going to have problems, but if you do, there are things you can do. The time limit is very forgiving, and if you are having problems, there's things that you can do just to wait before activating the time limit initially before coming up and doing all this second and third stages. So finally, we've come to stage 4, which is the final boss room. Make sure you've got all your buffs and cooldowns available for this final encounter. If you haven't yet, you should have taken a break, let your Sated come back, all your cooldowns. You should be completely ready going into this. All your buffs back on, everything. The first part of this fight, your teammates will start to kill each other. Make sure to hot them up and keep Healing Rain active. Then ghosts will begin to fly to the center and you'll need to heal these. It is so important that you do not let any of these reach the boss. You do not want this phase to go on any longer than it has to, so you're going to want to plan your cooldowns ahead of time. If 1 or 2 do reach the boss, sometimes this is manageable, but it's really not ideal, and depending on what ghosts turn evil, it can be a wipe even with just 2. So let's go into the cooldown order a little bit. Right off the back, I popped AG for the first wave of guys that need to be healed up. This is one of the best healing cooldowns for this part, so I want to be back up as soon as possible to use later in the fight. I did hot up the first guy, and then I focus healed the other 2. For the second set, I used Ascendance to quickly heal up the next set of guys. Now I almost lost one here, which could have been saved if I just let my Riptide heal up the first target more on its own. Remember, you want to keep Healing Rain down and Riptides also in your guys as much as possible. Use Healing Stream Totems on cooldown. Now if you've been able to get all of them this far, you're actually in a great spot. Just before the third wave, you can pop your Healing Tide Totem to let it charge up a little bit. Then you only need to heal 2 targets. The Healing Tide Totem will also heal up your guys as well, and since they're taking quite a bit of damage, it helps a lot. Right after this phase ends, half the time I could drink water, but half the time I couldn't. Either way, I would start drinking your Sleeper Mana Potion right away, and then once the boss is activated, you can either break it or wait a few extra seconds. The actual boss fight isn't so bad if you don't panic. He doesn't do a ton of damage to your group, so focus yourself more than anything. Right off the bat, go ahead and pop Bloodlust. You want the boss to die as quickly as possible. His first ability is to jump at you and drop the fire on the floor. You want to try and drop these in semi-good places, but don't worry too much because you can walk down the stairs to the last room. I will note though that the hunter did not follow me down to the bottom room and just stood up the stairs and took damage, so you may need to leave Riptide on her before you go down. The other ability he does is from the Nightbane encounter. He will place a debuff on you, and that will, when it ticks to 0, your health will AoE the group. Now this is one of the main ways he killed me. If you let your health drop too low, you will notice he loves to jump right around the same time the debuff pops. It can put you in some serious danger. Multiple attempts I died from this, and after a few times I tried to never let myself go under half health. But here might be another trick. The boss is actually stunnable, and although I never mastered this myself, you can stun him right before the debuff is getting close to activating, and then you only have to worry about one ability instead of both abilities.
hope you have found peace, Commander. Thank you, hero. We stopped the Legion from driving a wedge into our forces. The Kirin Tor will be pleased to learn of our victory. They gave me something to see your way back to them.
Well met. Light plus. You need something? Farewell.
In the end, it took me around 30 attempts. I got to the last phase in about 12, but I suffered trying to figure things out and then remain sane while trying to get back to the final part. I was happy to be able to get this done on the first day. That said, I can understand why people are going to get frustrated with this. If you don't have the gear or the proper legendaries, the best answer may be just to wait. But if you are going for it, I do wish you luck. And until the next time, thanks for watching.